So the other day, I was wondering why there are two kinds of people that stop drinking alcohol. The first kind of individual stops drinking alcohol, and if you saw them when they drank and then you saw them a year later, not much has changed. They're still kind of in the same shape, their career's still on the same trajectory, their relationships are okay, mediocre, they're not great. But then there's another kind of person that stopped drinking alcohol, and within 5 years or a year or whatever, they're multimillionaires, they're in the best shape of their lives, their relationships are thriving, they're solid people in their local community. What separates these two individuals? Well, today in this video, I am going to break down the clear effect that happens for those that go on to crush it. It's a little known effect that most people don't even know about, but the ones that do understand this are the ones that go on to achieve groundbreaking success as a non-drinker. We've seen them. We've seen the celebrities that stop drinking alcohol and just shoot off like rockets. People like Bradley Cooper. But then, we meet people that say that they've not drank for 5 years, and no offense, I'm not judging them, but they're not exactly inspiring. It's just the same old without alcohol. And in this video, we are going to break down the effect that happens for the 1% of people that just go on to dominate their life. I cannot wait to share this with you today. It will blow you away. And just before we get into the video, if you actually want my help stopping drinking in the Sober Clear program, where we use something called first principles thinking to help you reframe the way that you view alcohol, and then we have a community of business owners and professionals, and we use coaching to really focus on building a great life without alcohol, please go ahead and click the link in the description and you can book a free call. We can jump on a call together and really figure out if my method and my program could be a good match for you. We've already worked with over 350 people, we get over a 90% success rate, and we've helped people from NASA, from Forbes, from JP Morgan. So if you want more details, go ahead and book a call by clicking the link in the description. And now back to the video. You'd never guess, but actually how I figured this out was when I went out to a restaurant and a waiter actually stole money from me. So to understand this, we need to go back a little bit. So before I moved to Dubai, where I am right now, I actually lived in Koh Samui. So Koh Samui is an island in Thailand. It's an incredible place. And me and my girlfriend moved there. And it was just after the big C. I'm not going to say it. I don't know what happens if you say it on YouTube. Maybe I get banned. Who knows? And one thing that we like to do is that if we ever go out for a date, we like to go to a restaurant. We love food, right? We love trying different cuisines and different dishes, and it's just something that we love doing. So me and my girlfriend, we went to this restaurant. We had a lovely meal. The waiter came. We paid our bill. So we're waiting now for the server, for the waiter to bring back our change. So we sat on our table, and then behind us, another table comes in. So it was a group of like 4 dudes, big dudes, and if you can imagine the tables, they were like back to back. So you'd have like this very thin backrest and then a seat either side. And then it was like a bit like a diner, but there was no clear like gap between the tables. So they were really close together. Now we were just about to leave. It was about 30 seconds until we were about to literally get our change and go. And then the guy that was sat directly behind me leant back and then put his arms like this. And the problem is that his elbow now came into my personal space, and like he didn't touch me or anything. I don't even think he realized what he'd done, but his elbow came over and he got into our space. And it was about 20 seconds where we were sat there waiting for this. And then the change came, I got the change and I left. But after we left that restaurant, I said to my girlfriend, I said, "Hey, did you see that guy put his arm over?" And she said, "No, what happened?" And I said, "Well, he got into my space and I didn't say anything. I didn't confront him. I basically chickened out. I wussed out. I just didn't say anything, left the restaurant." And I still carry that to this day. And I promised myself there and then that if anything happens like that ever again, I have to confront somebody. I can never back down from conflict just because I'm scared or whatever it was that happened that day. Anyway, last night we went out for a dinner. So it was me, my girlfriend, and another couple. And it was actually a couple that we met in Thailand. It's somebody that I knew online, a great couple. And we went out together because it's their last night in Dubai today. So the waiter came, he brought the check, he said, "Do you want to add a tip?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, just add a percentage on." And then he said, no worries. And then he told me how much the bill was. And I was like, wait, how much? Because it was 4 of us. We didn't obviously drink alcohol. We had like 5 starters, 4 mains, and it was like $700. I'm like, wait, how much? So I looked at the bill and I was like, oh, okay, so just make it. And then I added the percentage on and I gave him the amount to put into the card. Just make it 2,450 dirham, right? So then I gave it him back. He put it in and then he gave me the card machine. I didn't really look. I just scanned it. And then the check came out and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That says 2,498. He's added an extra $15 on that I never asked him to add on. And I said to him, what's that about? He said, oh, you asked me to add on 250 dirham. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I never said that. And I genuinely never said it. So I felt like he just kind of snuck it on. And maybe not. Maybe he misheard me. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I knew that I had to say something. It's $15, right? I could have just let it slide. But if I didn't say anything, I would have left that place feeling bad about myself. So I said, man, I didn't ask you to do that. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. and then he went off to the manager or whatever he did, and then he came back, and we were waiting for like 5 minutes. And I said to my friends, I'm like, I know this is a little bit embarrassing, and I explained the story of what happened last time when I was in Thailand, and they were cool with it. Anyway, the guy came back. He said, what we're gonna have to do is refund it, and then we'll have to do the charge again, and blah blah blah. I just said, listen, man, no big deal. Don't worry about it. Just keep the tip, right? So I guess the story ended positively, but I just let him keep the money because whatever. But it wasn't about the money, right? I'm not bothered about $15 extra on a tip. It was more about me facing the conflict, doing the uncomfortable thing, right? It was a bit embarrassing. I didn't want to say that in front of my friends. I could have just let it slide and we left the restaurant and all was good. But for me, I had to go towards the conflict. I couldn't let myself back down. And now you're probably thinking, why are you telling me all of this, Leon? How has this got anything to do with not drinking alcohol? I'll tell you how this is 100% relevant to not drinking alcohol, and I'm going to tell you how this can get you a six-pack, get you in the best shape of your life, get you millions of dollars. It'll all make sense in a minute. But I spent the best part of 10 years constantly running away from conflict. What would happen is I'd drink alcohol, I'd cause a bit of chaos, I'd get out of shape, I'd fall out with somebody, then I'd try and stop drinking alcohol, and then I'd go back to drinking again. And I'd tell myself, it's okay, I'll deal with this later. I can do this tomorrow. I don't need to stop drinking right now. And then the cycle would start again, and then I'd get myself into a state, and then, I might stop for a few months, and then bam, I'm back on it. It was a constant cycle for 10 years of just burying my head in the sand, running away from confrontation, never really truly facing the problem. And how many times have you done this? How many times have you said, I'll deal with this tomorrow, right? And hey, we don't just need to talk here about not drinking alcohol. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start the diet tomorrow, right? I'll get back to the gym tomorrow. How many times have you told yourself that you'll start that great business idea tomorrow, or that new initiative at work, or you'll ask for that pay rise, for that promotion, and then you back down. You say, do you know what? I'll deal with this later. And here's the problem, is that when we drink alcohol, this becomes the norm. We do something that we know in our heart is wrong. We know that we should confront that problem. We should face that issue head on and stop running away scared, but we don't. We live in this perpetual state of fear. And I don't mean fear of like being scared of ghosts. I mean, we live in this fear that somehow life will be worse off without alcohol. We truly believe this. And because we're afraid, we push it off and push it off and push it off. So what do you think happens then? That running away and that living your life scared spreads into every single area of your life. It spreads into your relationship. It spreads to your health. It spreads to your business. It affects everything. And you know what? That ain't good. I don't want that for you. You don't want that for yourself. You don't want to look back at your life when you're 70 years of age, think, damn, I could have done so much more. You don't want that. I don't want that for you. Nobody wants that for you. And I am going to explain an actual step that you can take in the right direction. So please stick with me to the end of the video. Don't give up yet. But just imagine for a second that you pluck up the courage, you find the strength, and you say, do you know what? Enough is enough. I am solving this problem. I am going all in. I am finding a damn solution. And imagine if you attack it with that curiosity and you don't back down. You don't do what I did in Koh Samui in the restaurant where I knew I should have said something and done something uncomfortable. Imagine if you just faced it head on. Imagine if you faced the drinking like that. I've spoken to way over probably 2,000 people at this point that want help stopping drinking. Do you know how many people I've spoke to that have said, do you know what, Leon? I just need a bit more time. I just need a bit more time before I do something. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds have told me this. They're probably still drinking to this day. I hope they're not. God, I hope they're not. But listen, I'm just being realistic. Most of them are probably still saying that to themselves to this day. I'll deal with this later. I'll do it tomorrow. I just need a bit more time. And it's nonsense. It's BS. The time that you confront this issue is now. And just imagine for a second that you do confront it. What do you think happens next, right? Let's say you confront the drinking. And let's say you don't stop there. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, there is a kind of person that does confront the drinking, but then nothing else happens. They confront the drinking and they go back to their normal life. They stay in average shape, with an average relationship, in an average job, with an average business. They just live a mediocre life. But imagine if you go all into solving that problem and then you say, do you know what? Why stop there? Why don't I use this pillar of not drinking alcohol, this foundational thing that you've been putting off for so long? Why don't I use that and then create a domino effect? Why don't I solve the drinking and then go into my health? Why don't I then get a trainer, right? Get onto a nutrition plan, get to a CrossFit gym, a boxing gym, a powerlifting thing, or some 5K running or whatever it might be. And then you say, do you know what? I'm going to face this issue now. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to go all in on this. And then before you know it, boom, then you're reading some relationship books, some parenting books. And then you're like, well, why stop there? Why don't I look into business stuff? Why don't I look into how I can level up my business? And then before you know it, this one act of stopping drinking, because we all know that stopping drinking is the most important thing that we need to solve if you've got a drinking problem. You start there and then boom, it's like a domino effect. You're like a bull that's just smashing domino after domino after domino after domino. See, that's the kind of person that stops drinking and gets in the best shape of their life, right? They become a multimillionaire. Or, hey, listen, maybe money's not the thing. Maybe they just have more impact on the world. Maybe they become a leader in their church, in their mosque, whatever it is. But the point of the video is you don't want to be the person that stops drinking alcohol and just sits around and does nothing. You want to be the person that stops drinking alcohol and they're ready for more. They want to keep going and keep going and keep going. And that's exciting. That's why I love making these videos. That's why I love talking to people like yourself, because you're different. You're different. You are ready for a change. And I respect you. I respect that you watch videos like this, because these kind of videos, my videos, are uncomfortable to watch. You're facing a truth that you've been putting off for years. So what exactly should you do at this point? Well, if you want to take it to the next level and you want to work directly with me, you can book a call with me. But I'm not saying my program's for everybody. I typically work with a business owner, with a high-level professional, with somebody that genuinely wants to change. Some of you, that might not be for you. You might need to go to an AA meeting, right? You might be okay with reading a couple of books and doing it on your own. I don't know. I know though, when you hire a coach, when you do it with somebody that inspires you, then you're just going to be so much more likely to succeed. I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But at this point, I've already worked with hundreds and hundreds of people now. So if you want to click the link in the description, please go ahead and do it. Don't delay. Stop putting it off. Take that first step to create the domino effect on the rest of your life. And if you click the video on the screen now, you can learn why a drinking problem exists with a new system to gain control.